A picturesque evening in Harwich plays the setting for the final road game of the regular season for the Falmouth Commodores, hitting the road to take on the Harwich Mariners. Glad you joined us here from Harwich. Zach Surdenik alongside Venezia and Destiny Sanchez, ready to bring this one to you after another Falmouth walk-off win last night, Matt. The Gov was electric in that 9th and 10th innings.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The boys did a great job, and obviously, again, you got to find ways to win. And Falmouth did that. They came from behind and got it done.
This is a pitching matchup that we saw a couple of weeks ago back at the Gov. Dominic Picone for Harwich, Jacob Smith for Falmouth. We'll get into those guys a little more in a minute, but it's time to take you through the starting lineup, starting with the Doors. The visitors leading off with Caleb Hall once again, and then Travis Bazana sits into that 2 spot. He now leads the Cape League in average with another multi-hit game last night, pushing his hit streak to 11. Walker Yannick slots back in the 3 spot. The catcher out of Sam Houston State is followed by Tyler McGregor, the cleanup hitter, who came through with that game-tying 2 RBI single in the 9th yesterday. Gavin Turley comes into the 5 spot once again, followed by Nate Humphreys, who's back in the lineup after a day off yesterday. Michael Eze in the 7 spot, the shortstop, with Sean Darnell returning to the lineup after his day off, hitting 8th, and the debut of Caden Shapiro, the outfielder out of Princeton, gets his first appearance on the summer for the Commodores in what is a game that you really just want to try and build momentum towards Friday's matchup with Hyannis, and there's still an outside chance, Matt, that game on Friday could be in Falmouth rather than at McKeon Park.
The Doors got to win out, and you need Hyannis to lose out. Right now, Hyannis on top 2-0 against the Gatemen, so it would take Wareham having to help out the Doors here for us to have game 1 at the Gov.
Either way, Falmouth looking to continue a hot streak right now that has seen the Doors winners of 9 of their last 11 games, headed towards the playoffs. They're going to have to face this lineup for Harwich that looks a lot different than the last time we saw them, but there's some pretty good talent in here as well. Starts off with Daniel Rivera, the speedster at shortstop, headed to Kansas State next season to the Big 12 after a really good year at Southern New Hampshire University. Got Devin Obie, the designated hitter in the 2 spot, the Duke Blue Devil. It's followed by another ACC guy, the switch-hitting first baseman Ethan Anderson. Cam Leary hits 4th with Brian Arndt to follow him. Justin Boslin out in center field tonight, making his debut with Harwich. You've got Talmadge Lecroy out of South Carolina, really highly touted prospect, and a good piece for the Gamecocks this year that slots in the 7 spot. Cam Caraher in the 8th, and Jackson Brinker rounds out the order for Steve Englert and the Harwich Mariners.
Well, it's a lot of different faces, but this is a group that's 4-6 over its last 10. It's certainly not playing the baseball that Falmouth is, so like you said, you got to keep building momentum. You got to take care of business tonight against a Harwich group that last time you two saw each other got shut out at the Gov. You sure that they probably have that circled on the calendar, not remembering.
And it was Jacob Smith that pitched for Falmouth in that game. With Dominic Picone on the other side, he went 5 innings, giving up just 3. But Picone went 4 and 2, but Smith went 4 2/3, without giving up a run. The rest of the Falmouth bullpen picked him up as well. Umpires today for this contest: Tom Ryberg, the third base ump, Marvick Gomez behind the plate, and J.C. Fernandez down the first base line. We're going to step aside, be back with first pitch in just a minute. Falmouth and Harwich going at it from Whitehouse Field on the Commodores Baseball Network.
Good rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner here from Whitehouse Field, the home of the All-Star Game. We were here a couple of weeks ago, but it's been a long time. Game 3 on the summer season. It was our last time here for a Commodores Mariners game, and to set the table about what we have ahead of us, we send it to Destiny Sanchez.
Thanks, Matt. You said it. The last time we saw Harwich was on July 19th at the Gov, but it's been a long time since the Doors have been to Whitehouse Field other than the All-Star Game. Last time Falmouth saw Harwich, the Doors shut them out 5-0. Both Harwich and Falmouth are third in their respective divisions. However, Doors have had a 4-game win streak. The Mariners have had a 2-game losing streak. Like we've said all summer long, the competition only increases game by game, and it's not stopping with playoffs starting this Friday.
Thank you, Destiny, for that. Yes, we know the matchup, sort of. Right now, the way things are set to be, it will be Falmouth taking on the Harbor Hawks. We just don't know where Game 1 will be, and tonight has a lot of implications on that, Zach. We're going to be doing a lot of scoreboard watching to see what's going on with the Harbor Hawks and the Gatemen.
It's going to be an interesting spot. The Harbor Hawks have a really good arm on the mound in that game in Mason Nichols. Let's see how far they want to use him, because the more they use him, the tougher it's going to be for him to turn around and pitch in that playoff series. Nichols has probably been the Harbor Hawks' ace this season. They really want that home field advantage, Matt.
Meanwhile, for a Harwich group right now, locked into the 3 spot. Not much else they can do. They're kind of just watching to see what's going on with YD and Orleans, because if YD wins, Zach, they'll clinch that 1st spot. Orleans must win tonight and then either win tomorrow or have YD lose to claim the top spot out east.
Well, and they're doing a pretty good job of getting that started. Picking up a early lead is Orleans. They're playing well. They've been playing good baseball down the stretch. Got a shot to win that East Division in the regular season.
Joe Ayama and the rest of those Firebirds are playing pesky baseball right now. But we got baseball here, a different part of the East side. This is our last matchup with a foe in the East Division, and it's against an arm that we've seen before. It's Dominic Picone.
Dominic Picone was good when the Doors took on the Mariners at Gov Fuller Field back on July 19th. But Jacob Smith was better. It was 5 innings, giving up 3 runs for Picone. Really good arm out of St. Joseph's. Has good fastball, but a better changeup. He's going to use that to get a lot of balls put in play. Last outing, 6 1/3 innings pitched against Wareham. Ended up getting the loss in that game against the Gatemen, but still put in a really good performance that night. He's trying to keep that going tonight.
0-3 this season, a 5.4 ERA for the Harwich Mariners. 15 strikeouts to 6 walks for that righty out of St. Joe's. He works out of the wind to begin his night, and he'll take on Caleb Hall to get us going here at Whitehouse Field. The first offering spiked in the ground for ball number 1. Went with the slider first pitch to Hall here, leading it off for the Commodores. He's in there from that right side, and Picone right back to work. Just off the plate here as he speeds him up a little bit. 91 at the fastball, up and away. Caleb Hall works ahead here quickly for the Doors. Picone right back to it. He spikes it in the ground. Still can't find that zone to begin this ball game. Caleb Hall stepping out, adjusting his batting gloves before stepping back in. Hall, one of the late adds to the Falmouth roster, as he now takes a fastball from Picone right down Broadway for strike number 1. Had a really, really good year in that collegiate summer league down in Florida before coming here to Falmouth. He comes up empty with a foul ball swing straight back to the screen, and suddenly it's a full count.
Got to try and win the battle.
Picone out of the wind, thrown up into the air into relatively deep left center field. Carraher camps under it, and he'll make that play. Caleb Hall puts a ball in play, can't find it to drop for that first out.
Good job by Picone on the mound to come back and get through it. He works extremely quickly. He's not going to take much time at all. It's going to be go, go, go.
Now in there is Travis Bazzana, rocking number 21, though, tonight. Was telling us earlier that he was going to be wearing a different jersey tonight. A lot of new guys coming in and out, a lot of laundry to have to do. Nonetheless, it's Bazzana not wearing 7 tonight. He shows bunt, pulls it back as it's a fastball up and away. You mentioned the crazy numbers earlier that Bazzana has, leading the league in average, and has just been so good for Falmouth here of late. Obviously, the 2-run home run yesterday, Zach, really helped pull the Doors back into that contest. And not only that, but helped spark some of the flares we saw in that 9th inning, getting on base. And obviously, McGregor then a few batters later came up with that big 2-run single to tie the ball game. Picone works out of the wind, and it's a fastball up high. Another hitter-friendly opportunity here for Bazzana at second base tonight for Jeff Trundy and the Commodores. The offering from Picone, big cut and a miss there by Bazzana, came up empty again on that heater. The hottest we've seen it so far, 92 on the gun, a little bit up in the zone. Picone looking down at his pitch sign here, now steps onto the rubber and works out of the full windup, swing and a miss. Fastball roofed at the top of the zone for strikeout number 1 for Dominic Picone.
He's looking good, even though he's falling behind hitters. It's dangerous, but his fastball's playing early.
Now it's Walker Yannick, and through his exciting turn of events here for the Doors, now in that 3 spot for Falmouth. Again, with all the roster turnover. Had himself an 0 for day yesterday, but a 2-hit effort on the road last time Falmouth was wearing these dark jerseys. He had 2 hits and 5 tries on the road. Gets on this one. First pitch swinging out to fairly deep center field. Boslin makes the play on his left side. And 2 fly balls and a strikeout. Retire Falmouth in this first inning. We'll be back. First time we see the Falmouth defense tonight. It all starts with a big, tall lefty on the hill tonight. It's Jacob Smith.
Jacob Smith has been consistent for Falmouth all summer long. You love what you've gotten out of him. This is his 5th appearance, his 4th start. 1-0 record, 17 innings, just 5 runs given up, 21 punch-outs to 9 walks. His last outing was pretty typical of what he does, with a few more walks than normal, but 4 2/3 innings pitched, 2 runs given up, a couple of punch-outs to go with it.
The big lefty out of West Alabama has really anchored almost the 3 spot in the rotation, you could argue, and we should certainly see him once playoff season rolls around, Zach, in one of those possible maybe game 2, even game 3 of that first round playoff series.
Definitely think he gives you a shot, and he also is somebody that Hannes hasn't really seen, and that's going to help in that playoff matchup, especially with a guy like Jacob Smith, who throws so many different pitches, and he uses his speed differential so well. That really makes a big difference when it's the first time that a team has seen an arm like that. I think he's going to be a big piece either in this first round series, and if he's not in that one, he'll definitely make a difference if they make it to round 2.
Well, you mentioned the Harbor Hawks haven't really seen him yet. Well, Harwich has, and that was just a couple of starts ago. 4.2 innings pitched, just 2 hits and 5 Ks against. That was a 5-0 win for Falmouth back at the Gov. Jacob Smith been getting a good amount of his warm-up tosses in. Typically, you'll see the leadoff batter kind of step in here, but the music is cued down, and it's still an empty home plate area for now as he gets his last few tosses in here. But it'll be Daniel Rivera, Devin Obie, and Ethan Anderson, the first 3, to greet Jacob Smith. Utilizes all those different pitches and could be a broadcaster in his near future. He likes to hang out with us during those home games, makes a fun interview during some of the innings that we've had previously at the Gov.
He's definitely been fun to be around. He'll keep it interesting for you for sure.
He's got good energy, just a lively person. Great personality too. They don't see Daniel Rivera here to lead off this ball game now. Rivera Spent last season at Southern New Hampshire, getting ready to go be a Wildcat, Kansas State. First offering out of the stretch and a big cut and a miss off of Yannick's mask and sent straight back. Good way to start against a leadoff man for the Mariners tonight.
Rivera had a really good junior season this year. 365 average, 25 multi-hit games at Southern New Hampshire.
Still trying to get accustomed here as he takes one at the knees for strike number 2 from Smith. That's a 90-mile-an-hour fastball in there. Just 12 hits in 52 tries this summer. That's good for now, entering his 19th game here with the Mariners. Again, we talked about a lot of different faces that, you know, this group has had over the last couple of weeks, but on July the 19th, he was in the lineup against the Doors in that shutout loss, went 0 in that one at the Gov, as did a lot of Mariners. It was an outing dominated by the pitching staff of Falmouth. The pitching staff here tonight so far with Jacob Smith off to a good start. Ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. Smith delivers, fastball too high. Had Yannick reaching out of the zone in towards that left-handed batter's box for the first ball of the at-bat. The infield playing him straight up here. Smith comes set at the belt. Lift of his leg, the 1-2. Slowed it down on him, and it's a routine ground ball to Eze at short. Across the diamond, it's a high throw, and it's wild. It's going to go near the Falmouth dugout. Not a good way to start, especially with the mistakes we saw yesterday, Zach. That's an error right out of the gate.
I think Eze might have been thinking a little bit about yesterday when he came up with that ball. Just seems out of sorts right now. Doesn't seem comfortable.
The designated hitter from
Wasn't the hardest hit ball in the world, but nonetheless, just airmailed the throw. And now you've got Jacob Smith contending with a base runner on. It's Devin Obie up next. Obie designated hitting tonight. We've seen him in the outfield in previous matchups here against the Doors. First pitch swinging, and the big righty sends it over the press box and foul. But you got to contend right away with the speed from Rivera. Had 50 stolen bags this year at Southern New Hampshire. Certainly always someone who likes to go if he gets a chance, and Jacob Smith understanding that, his first move is over to Tyler McGregor.
You mentioned just the 19th game. He's already got 7 stolen bases on the summer out here. That speed translates.
Smith offers, slowed it down a little bit. That's a good pitch on the changeup for strike number 2. Started both batters 0-2.
I say the speed translates with Rivera, but you do have probably the best defensive catcher on the Cape in Walker Yannick behind the dish. That'd be a fun matchup if he does go.
Long look to Rivera. He stays put. Fastball airmailed once again upstairs and in towards Obie. Steps out of the box. Now taps his baseball bat on home plate. A couple of waggles forward. Now circles that bat over his right shoulder here. Jacob Smith, sunlight peeking on his forehead now. Offers, then pulls the string. That's a really good cut and a miss. Went with one of those curveball, slider, sweepers, whatever you want to call it. That time it worked for the first out.
Really good pitch. That's what we've seen from Smith all season long.
Really, really consistent with that. A lot more vertical break on that one. Would have to think that was one of his big 12-6 curveballs that he offered there. But Smith now comes set, greeting the next batter, Ethan Anderson, in there from that right side. 3 righties to begin against the lefty in Jacob Smith. They take that pitch inside here, the first offering. Coming in at 81 on the gun. First time Smith working from behind now. Gets a sign from Yannick, who adjusts his stance there behind the plate, anticipating the pitch. Smith offers. It's fouled. Pulled towards the bullpen along the left field line. That was the bullpen and dugout area of the East Division All-Stars just a couple of week and a half or so ago. Had a really fun time for all those festivities here, Zach. You and I got to participate in the Cape League, had a live stream interview kind of thing going on behind home plate, and the All-Star game, and of course the home run hitting contests. Rivera is going. The throwdown from Yannick might be perfect, and it is. Walker Yannick, you called it, partner. One of the best defensive catchers, if not the best on the Cape. He wastes little time to show that off for that second out.
And that's a curveball against one of the fastest guys out here. And Yannick came up and threw him out. And it wasn't particularly close either.
Well, no one appreciates that more than Michael Eze after that error that allowed Rivera to even reach in the first place. It was called a ball on that breaking ball coming in at 71. Now Smith can work a little bit more confidently with nobody aboard, and he spikes that changeup in the dirt. Makes it a 3-1 hitter-friendly opportunity to Ethan Anderson, tonight's first baseman for the Mariners.
It's a little bit what we saw of Jacob Smith in the last outing. What we've seen in this at-bat, falling behind hitters. Not something we saw in his first 3 appearances at all.
He comes set here. Long look down, lifts his leg and fires, and it's a fastball popped up in foul territory along the right field line. McGregor, does he have a play? Yes, he does. Just out of our vantage point here, but he's still able to make that catch along the warning track, and Falmouth avoids the error to send the Mariners down in order 1-2-3. We're scoreless after 1 from Whitehouse Field. The Mariners trying to salvage those arms, as we were alluding to. A new pitcher's in after Dominic Pacone worked that scoreless first. It's Zane Probst out of Alabama.
Just trying to keep guys fresh, and Probst, second year with the Mariners. A couple of seasons at Seton Hall, 32 appearances for the Pirates. And now just getting settled in to this summer here on the Cape with Harwich, trying to get them into a playoff push. And right before the break and getting into the playoffs, he's going to see it.
Zane Probst was second for the Crimson Tide this year in appearances, had 19 of them in his first season there with Alabama in the SEC. A very capable arm at just over a 4.0 ERA, over 17 and change innings pitched. He'll see Tyler McGregor, one of the heroes of yesterday, that 2-run game-tying single in the 9th inning, all worked with 2 outs, Zach. 3 consecutive walks. It was a little chaotic yesterday at the Gov, one of the more louder atmospheres we've had at Gov Fuller Field, and Tyler McGregor certainly contributed to it. In there from that left side. First pitch swinging. It's a ground ball to his opposite first baseman, Ethan Anderson, and he'll do it himself. Pretty sharp ground ball to begin the inning, but another door down in order.
It's a good swing from McGregor. Just rolled it over a little bit, hit it hard. Fortunately, right at a glove.
Didn't have time to set the table with McGregor, given the fact that he's been so hot of late, Zach. Up to 3rd now on the team in batting average. Really sparked it in that blowout win against Katuitt at Lowell Park. An effort where he was a home run shy of the cycle. Another guy who had a good game back then, and really a good set of games, is Gavin Turley. He's in there now taking that first one in there for a strike. Turley in there from that right side. Tonight's left fielder for the Doors. Been a staple out in left ever since he got here and had been in and out of the lineup, but now that he's found that consistency, average up to 224. He's been in left pretty much ever since, but he's behind in the hole here. 0-2 to Zane Probst, who gets him on 3 pitches. Curveball in the dirt. It's got to be thrown down. A low throw from Arndt behind the plate, but Anderson with a nice pick job over there. And strikeout number 2 from this staff of Harwich. starts it off.
It's a very different look than what you're getting from Pacone. Pacone was trying to throw that fastball in quick and blow it by people, and Probst is throwing a whole lot of breaking balls. And there's yet another arm getting ready to go for Harwich. This could be a true bullpen day.
Nate Humphreys was a pinch hitter yesterday. He was intentionally walked. Ended up being at second base during the course of Falmouth then getting the walk to win the ball game. Luke Heyman was in the box when that winning run came across. Gavin Turley was that game-winning run for the Doors. Humphreys sends that one straight back. Got a breaking ball there, and it's fouled off at the top of the zone. Breaking ball coming in a little bit hotter than you saw from Dominic Pacone. That's 82 on a slider. But again, another Harwich Mariner pitcher in front, 1-2. Swing and a miss. Went down in the dirt again. That time it was the changeup. And the Doors go down in order for the second consecutive inning. 1-2-3 goes Falmouth, trying to do the same to the Mariners on the other side of the break. Still scoreless here in Harwich. But before we continue on, we hear a message from Destiny Sanchez about Cape Cod Healthcare.
Thanks, Matt. Cape Cod isn't just any community, it is our community. At Cape Cod Healthcare, providing exceptional, high-quality care for our neighbors and visitors is at the core of everything we do. From wellness initiatives and preventative screenings to leading-edge technology and specialized clinical expertise, our dedicated team is committed to delivering care that enhances the well-being of all in this special region. Cape Cod Healthcare congratulates the Cape Cod Baseball League on its 100-year anniversary and is proud to be this year's official healthcare sponsor. Learn more at capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, caring, commitment, community.
Thank you for that. Good message on our partners at Cape Cod Healthcare. Partners around the Cape League. Hearing updates about Cape Cod Healthcare across all the different ballparks, both in the ball games as well as on the broadcast. Good to hear from them. But as we continue on here, turning into a beautiful night for baseball, just a couple of clouds overlooking Whitehouse Field here, Zach, but not a whole lot more. It's going to be a beautiful evening once the lights turn on here.
It's been great. We're getting some good baseball early. These pitchers are throwing it well.
The lone trip for Falmouth earlier this year, back on June the 12th, a 2-1 victor with the Doors, the first win on the season for Falmouth. That was unfortunately in the midst of the Doors starting 3-10-2 through the first third or so of the regular season. Since then, a much different story. Jacob Smith greets Cam Leary with a big cut and a miss from the left side.
The winning run in that game against Harwich was Charlie Condon after he swiped third base. His first ever stolen base in college or collegiate summer league was him swiping third, and then Ross Highfield brought him home.
Had that double rope down the left field line. And then our introduction to one of the better arms we've seen all summer, both with Falmouth and the Cape League. Casey Hunt got a 9-out save to slam the door for Falmouth to get that first win.
Yeah, you talk about Falmouth's ability to go from one to another in the bullpen. Go from Casey Hunt, who was really good, to Joey Ryan, who's yet to give up a run.
That's true. Jacob Smith left on left here. Pulls the string. Good takedown there. You mentioned Joey Ryan. He hasn't pitched since the last time he was here at Whitehouse Field during the All-Star game. It was a scoreless inning worked in middle relief, but because either Falmouth's won by a ton of runs or the deficits have not allowed him to come in, he's just been fresh and waiting for an opportunity that could come tonight. The 2-1. Fastball up and in. Good leave there by Cam Leary, and it's a hitter-friendly opportunity now. 3 balls against 1 strike. Gets himself back in the box there, does Leary. Ahead now in this count. 11 of 19, rather. 1 of 11, excuse me, to this point in the summer. Watches that one down low, and if nothing else, he's able to boost up the on-base percentage just a little bit. Had a tough time seeing the baseball to this point since he's just arrived, a few days ago, but works a leadoff walk here to begin the second.
Leadoff guys, some that have bit Falmouth into their losses this year, allowing base runners early, and that can turn into runs really quickly.
Brian Arndt will step in there now out of North Carolina, Wilmington. But before we can even mention him, a pickoff move to check on Leary there. This team will run when it has to. Just fourth in the Cape League. Good number at 56 in the stolen bases here. Already one try to make it 57, though. And Walker Yannick dispatched of Daniel Rivera there at second. First offering fouled straight back by Brian Arndt, the backstop tonight for the Mariners. By the way it's looking, he's going to see a lot of different pictures tonight behind the plate. But he faces one now in the batter's box that has a ton of different options in his arsenal. And Smith decides to use one of those options to pick off back at first once again. Coming up empty on that go, though.
Leary's got a big lead. Might not be testing Yannick, but at least he's making Smith think about him.
He had 12 stolen bases this year at UNC Wilmington. He sends one the opposite way along the right field line, but it just drops foul. Was a little behind there on the Jacob Smith fastball. Finds himself ahead, 0-2. Good response after really falling behind to Cam Leary previously. Brian Arndt so far this summer, 23 hits in 90 tries, sporting a .256 average. Was one of the Harwich Mariners in that all-star game here on his home turf. Smith, fastball really high. Walker Yannick had to leap out of the crouch and lost his mask in the process. Still made that catch, though, to keep it from reaching this very deep backstop. Probably the deepest backstop of any of the Cape stadiums that we've seen, Zach.
And it's also got that chain link fence, so you never know what kind of hop you're going to get either. This is the type of backstop that a guy could go first to third on a wild pitch if it takes the right bounce.
Looking to avoid that is Smith here, who delivers, pulled the string, and got him looking. Delayed call from Marvick Gomez. That's a backwards K for the second strikeout tonight from Jacob Smith.
And Brian Arndt knew it immediately. Just kind of looked, nodded his head, said, yep, and then turned around and walked back.
Good way to find the first out of the inning for Jacob Smith. Up to 23 Ks now in over 17 innings of work now. That's a good ratio in terms of averaging more than a strikeout per inning. But to no surprise, that's what he did at school this year. Had 104 of them at West Alabama. Was in that weekend rotation at school this year. First pitch slows it down once again here to another lefty in Justin Boslin, tonight's center fielder.
This guy oozes speed out of the batter's box and on the base paths. 14 for 14 in stolen backs from Northeastern this year. Had 5 of them in a game against Merrimack.
Teammate of Tyler McGregor. We saw another one of his teammates yesterday, Alex Lane, with the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. A couple of those late guys getting in from Northeastern here now, making an impact in the Cape League, wherever team they're suiting up for. Fastball from Smith up and away, misses to the big tall lefty in there from that left side. Makes it a hitter opportunity now, 2-1. You still have to contend with Cam Leary there at first. Got a pretty sizable primary lead. Still being held on by McGregor, though. Smith offers home. Got an inside curveball to stay just in the zone there. That's a good piece to make it 2-2.
When the breaking ball is thrown for strikes by Smith, he's really dangerous.
Jacob Smith, a long pause, big deep breath, fires one, and this is given a good ride out into left. Gavin Turley battling the sun, and he'll make the play on a back pedal for that second out.
Good swing on a pitch away, and couldn't get enough of it to carry it out the other way, especially with no wind really being a factor at Whitehouse Field tonight.
So now you bring in Talmadge LeCroy. He steps in from the right side. Takes one for a strike. You had the 3 righties to lead it off. Then a good mix of the left-handed bats there before now seeing another righty. Just trying to do the best the lineup can to complement against the big tall lefty and Jacob Smith. Ahead 0-1. Now going, and a good pitch to go on. It got away from Walker Yannick. And Cam Leary able to swipe the bag on that wild pitch.
Would have been a close play. He got a really good jump. With Yannick's arm, you never know. Obviously, when it's down in the dirt, he was pretty much taking second without any throw from Yannick.
You mentioned the good year that LeCroy had, one of the better prospects coming up here. The Gamecock from South Carolina, 289 hitter this year. Out of the SEC, takes a heater up and in. 4 home runs, drove in 42 on 52 hits. A good on-base percentage as well. And they're now in that 7th spot in the order today for the Mariners with an RBI spot with 2 away. The 2-1 from Smith, big breaking ball, and it just stayed a little too high. Not a bad offering there. But once again, for the second time this inning, behind 3 balls and 1 strike.
LeCroy had a big game in that regional final against Campbell. 5 ribbies for him to help South Carolina get to the Supers.
The 3-1. Pulled the string again, but it's off the plate. LeCroy works himself on here. The second walk surrendered by Jacob Smith. So far, no damage to it yet, Zach, but we did see him struggle a bit with the walks in his last outing in that tough loss against Orleans.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal, and it struck a lot of the pitchers on this staff as of late. Just struggling to find the zone, whether it's fatigue from the season wearing on or something else. They want to lock that back in before getting to the playoffs.
Cam Caraher now the next man to bat tonight's left fielder for the Mariners. Another left-on-left matchup for Smith, and he finds a fastball inside third for strike number 1. Caraher, another one of those guys from southern New Hampshire, but he's getting ready to go on to Boston College this upcoming season. Good year there as well. 337 hitter. A 601 slugging percentage. Did a real good job in finding ways to get those extra base hits. He leaves this breaking ball downstairs, though, from Jacob Smith. Had Yannick coming out to field it and keep an eye on the infield, making sure that Cam Leary and Talmadge LeCroy were staying put. A big knee bend. Keeps that bat straight up to the sky. Now anticipating Jacob Smith to come set, which he does. Smith a look back to second to keep tabs on Leary. He is going here at third. The throw down is perfect from Yannick once again, and he's thrown out. He may have gotten the first steal there, did Cam Leary, to second, but not the third time going to third. Not too bad. 2 throwouts from Walker Yannick, and that one ends the inning. The Mariners leave 1 on with one of those walks, but it's still scoreless after 2 from Whitehouse Field. It's another new Mariner to the mound after Zane Probst pitched that 1 inning, got 2 Ks. Jake Newman, a lefty, once again now gets an opportunity.
Another new arm, 3rd inning, 3rd arm, and Falmouth's going to have to adjust to it. That can be really tough, but it also can test the depth of your pitching staff going to a new arm every inning. See how long they keep it up.
Michael Eze will greet him first. Behind in the count, 0-1. They're taking that first pitch for a strike. Eze, since coming back, has a hit in every single outing. That's 4 consecutive now. Big cut there from Eze, comes up empty. Obviously, the game at Katuitt, who didn't do well in that game. Everyone was all over the stat sheet there. A 26-hit effort en route to a 27-2 win for Falmouth. But since then, Eze, a pair of efforts of going 1 for 6, 1 for 5, and 1 for 3. And now recently he's kind of gotten bit by some mistakes in the field. Trying to make up for it here in the box. He leaves that one. It may have actually got him on the top of his cleats, and he's going to be awarded first base on that breaking ball down in the dirt.
That's ideal. Find your first base runner any way you can. He'll take it.
Took a while for the Doors to get the offense going last time they were here. A 2-1 victor was Falmouth. Showing similar strides to that here, but trying to make do for it here in this bottom part of the order, as now Sean Darnell will step in. Another one of those new bats out of Wallace Community College in there from that left side. Big cut and a miss here on the fastball from Newman. Sean Darnell went over in his last outing against the Bourne Braves on the road at Doran Park. But prior to that, had a hit in 5 consecutive since arriving here to Falmouth. Good leave upstairs on a slider there from Newman. Was up by the letters. Had Jake Arndt, the backstop, reaching up high for that one. Evened up at 1 now with Michael Eze with that hit by pitch. He stands at first. Stays put there, though. Has another pitch downstairs. Good leave by Darnell, and it's 2-1. Newman looking in for the sign here. Against Sean Darnell, and now a move back over to Eze to keep track on him. Michael Eze likes to run, and he likes to run a lot. Did that at Georgetown this year. Had himself 18 stolen bases for the Hoyas. Fastball down below the knees, a really good leave there by Darnell, and it's now 3-1. Finds himself ahead here after the first 2 arms worked pretty effectively. 6 up, 6 down for the Doors, but now Falmouth might be threatening here. The 3-1 on the way, and it's in the dirt. That's ball 4 on just 5 pitches to Sean Darnell. And you give the newest Commodore now a chance in the box. It's Caden Shapiro.
And patience is what has made this Falmouth team good over the last few weeks. They're waiting for their pitch, and if they don't get it, they're not afraid to take a walk.
Caden Shapiro, one of those Princeton Tigers that saw a couple of his teammates around the Cape, including Scott Bandura, was here the last time Falmouth was playing a game at Whitehouse Field. But now we get to see a different Princeton Tiger in there, and he's going to take a fastball in there for a strike.
Shapiro, second team All-Ivy League this year. Really good numbers with the Tigers. That on-base percentage up above 400.
Shapiro, first pitch swinging, gets it into right for a base hit. Being held up by Brett Becker, the third base coach, is Michael Eze. Nice way to start your debut with the Doors. Shapiro, a sharp base hit into right field. They're fully loaded with Commodores with nobody away.
It's a good swing. Got a pitch that he could hit, and he didn't miss it. Hit it hard. Finds himself on the base paths.
Back to the top of the order, Caleb Hall out of North Greenville has himself a chance here to get Falmouth on the board. The infield has the corners in, the middle infield of Daniel Rivera and Brinker pinching the bag at second base. First pitch swinging, Caleb Hall into left. Not all that deep. Making the catch is Caraher as they started to home and goes back. An unproductive out on that line out from Caleb Hall for out number 1.
Wise decision by Eze to stay back as well. Caraher delivered a strike towards home plate. It would have taken a whole lot of speed to get down that line to beat that throw.
The Mariners find an out, but certainly not out of the woods at all. Now Travis Bazzana will step in. His numbers with the bases loaded this season. He's shown us what he's done. Has himself a grand slam on the summer. 6 home runs now for Bazzana. The team lead belongs to the Aussie in the box there from that left side. He takes a slider off the plate for ball number 1.
If you're following the batting title race in the Cape League, Bazzana entered today tied with Derek Bender. Bender went 2 for 4. See if Bazzana can keep pace.
Bazzana cutting a miss there. Came up empty on a really good pitch there. Slowing it down there was Newman on this left-on-left matchup. Evens up the count at 1. Bazzana again, another disciplined take there just off the plate. Went with a slider there. Did the lefty, the southpaw, and Jake Newman. Quickly coming set, though. Getting that sign behind the plate from Arndt. The offering on the way. Bazzana went fishing for it. Came up empty. Changeup down low. Makes it 2-2.
You don't see him chase often. That pitch has got him tied up in knots right now.
The 2-2 on the way. Swing and a miss. Heated him up after that. And Travis Bazzana comes up empty. So after the bases got loaded, now you've got 2 consecutive outs, and it comes down to Yannick getting something through cleanly to break the goose egg on the board.
And this is the type of baseball that we haven't seen from Falmouth recently. A lot of unproductive outs. We saw that early in the year. And the second half has been really good complementary baseball. Now Yannick's got to come through.
That he does. Takes one in there for a strike to begin the at-bat. Newman trying to climb all the way out of the hole here. Showed him a breaking ball there on that first offering. Walker Yannick last time flew out to straightaway center field to retire the first inning of Falmouth. Yannick, good leave on a fastball up and away. Newman bringing that pitch right now in the upper 80s on the heater. Has it up evened at 1. Eze stands at third with a hit by pitch, and then back-to-back walks to Sean Darnell. And then a base hit from Caden Shapiro. Have the rest of the bases the way they are. Now, in a spot there, 1-1. It's fouled off by Walker Yannick. That was a slider on the inside third, and he was just out in front of it. And the Mariners have climbed all the way back here, just 1 strike away from getting out of the jam. Base is still loaded for Falmouth. Big deep breath from Newman. The offering. Pulled the string. Good leave by Yannick off the plate and away. And it's 2-2. A walking lead for all the base runners for Falmouth. With Yannick from the right side trying to come through. The pitch on the way. Fastball way upstairs. Arndt had to do similar to what Yannick's done tonight. Jumping out of the crouch to keep that from reaching the backstop. Just an uncontested pitch. And now, could see what we saw yesterday. A walk to bring in a run. That won the game for the Doors. The 3-2 from Newman. Pulled down the left field line and way foul. Yannick got his barrel way out in front of that slider at 79 on the gun.
Yeah, but he got his barrel there quickly. That ball left the bat at 107.
One of the faster exit velos we've seen here on the Cape. Yannick got a lot of power. We know that. That big bat out of Sam Houston State. Really, really good year for Walker Yannick. Trying to come through in this big spot. The full count swing and a miss. Fastball at the letters. Yannick comes up empty. Some Houdini work by Jake Newman and the rest of the defense of Harwich. The Doors strand 3 and are still scoreless through 3 here at Whitehouse Field. Cam Carraher will step back into the box because of the problem. You know, when you have the bases situation we saw last time, the Mariners are getting aggressive, and Walker Yannick has disposed of 2 base runners now trying to steal. Carraher was in the box in a 1-2 count when that was going to happen. He's first pitch swinging. Eze gets another opportunity at short. This time he delivers a strike to McGregor for that first out.
That's good. He gets a pretty much routine ground ball there, and he's able to smoothly make that throw, get himself thinking about that type of throw rather than thinking about the struggles yesterday.
Jackson Brinker, the next man to step in now for the Mariners. In from the right side to round out the order for Harwich, a team sitting in 3rd place in the division. Again, already locked up its 3rd place spot in the postseason. Coming into this contest, 18 wins, 23 losses, and a tie. Good for 37 points. Through now the near conclusion of the Cape League season here. It's a good leave upstairs, evens us up at 1.
It's the final home game for Harwich. I like the way it's set up across the Cape League. All the teams that are home today, it's their last home game because they're all on the road tomorrow.
Jacob Smith trying to go right back to work here, working outside of a couple of walks here that we saw in that previous inning. He's looked real good, and that pitch right there, that curveball comes in so slow, but really keeps guys off balance. In there for strike number 2. Waving his bat over his right shoulder is Brinker. Smith lifts his leg and fires. Fastball just inside. That was a real good spot from Smith. Makes it 2-2. You mentioned the teams today that are home conclude on the road. Falmouth, evidently enough, started the season at the Gov and will conclude the season at the Gov. You don't always see that having, usually start the road, start the season on the road and then finish at home or vice versa. Not the way it's going for the Doors, but a good start here, though. Jacob Smith pulls the string, swing and a miss. Just like that, the big, tall lefty's got his 3rd strikeout to finish his first time 1 through 9.
Falmouth also got the 4th of July at home, had the whole centennial celebration there. It's been a good year for the Doors in year 100.
It's been a good year for Falmouth. It's been a good last 27 games. Falmouth, 20-7 since June the 28th. Has absolutely turned this thing around, riding scorching hot into the postseason. Yet we have to finish this game here at Harwich, and then a game against Catuit that, with the way it's looking with Hyannis right now, Zach, will probably not have a whole lot at stake tomorrow. Catuit's already clinched the top spot, and Falmouth by night's end will be locked in at 3.
I think the biggest thing we might be watching might be a batting title chase.
That's true. I'll have Cole Matheson in there, and you'll see Travis Bazzana as well.
Yeah, you'll get some MVP stuff with those 2 guys, and then be keeping an eye on whether Bazzana and Bender going at it at the top. There's a lot of things like that are going to be watched. Not much playoff.
Off the end of the bat here from Rivera, and Bazzana just rolling out into shallow center makes that play to retire the side. A 1-2-3 inning work by Jacob Smith. We're still scoreless through the first 3rd here in Harwich. We just told you the scores here at Harwich. 0-0 between Falmouth and the Mariners, but still action around the rest of the Cape League with a lot of implications going around. Destiny.
Thanks, Matt. The Bourne Braves defeated the Catuit Cavaliers 4-1. The Orleans Firebirds lead the YD Red Sox 9-4 in the top of the 8th. The Hyannis Harbor Hawks are shutting out the Wareham Gatemen 5-0 in the top of the 5th, and with that, we'll probably see Hyannis at McKeon Park for the first game of the playoff. And the Chatham Anglers lead the Brewster Whitecaps 1-0 in the bottom of the 1st.
Thank you so much for that, Destiny. And you brought up another important note there in terms of relation to Harwich. With Orleans on top 9-4 in that 8th inning, if the Firebirds can win that game, all they have to do is win tomorrow. They control their own destiny to take over the top seed in the East, which would mean the Mariners wouldn't see Orleans, they would see YD should that score hold, and then you see that effort tomorrow. And right now, the Firebirds are the hottest team out there in the East, really turning that season around. But as we mentioned, a win tonight against the Red Sox would leapfrog into that top spot. McGregor slices this one foul on the ground towards the dugout of the Mariners. He's behind 1 ball and 2 strikes. Back out there again is Jake Newman. No 4th consecutive pitching change for the Mariners. The lefty still works here against the big, tall first baseman for the Doors, who grounded out last time. Here, though, he comes up empty on that cut. Another strikeout for Falmouth. Don't look now, Zach. That's 6 strikeouts for the Doors through the early parts of this ballgame.
And what a turnaround we've seen from Jake Newman. He entered, hit the first guy he faced, then walked the next, and then a single. Load the bases. Line out, strikeout, strikeout. Got him out of that one. And then another strikeout. He's cruising.
It's pretty cool to see all the implications of, the scores around the Cape and how they're all going to be affecting each other. Right now, the Firebirds, again, taking it at Red Wilson Field, really delivering against the team that from the majority of the season, Zach, had been the team to beat in YD over there in that East Division. Turley takes that one in there for strike number 1. He's got a 1-1 count. You talk about teams to beat. Right now, Falmouth is playing like that team right now in the West. That hot stretch for Falmouth. Now winners of 9 of its last 11 are the Doors. Turley slices this one foul. Was a little behind there on that pitch. Fastball up. And again, Jake Newman cruising right now. He's ahead of another hitter, 1 and 2.
See if he goes to that splitter. He's had so much success with it.
Did it right there, but it's fouled again. Nice cut by Turley to stay with it. That pitch right now, Zach, anywhere between 800 to just over 1,000 on the spin rate. It is just kind of floating and then just dives straight down. The offering here, same one. And that's a real good leave by Turley. That time it was more down in the zone right out of the hand. A much easier take. But it makes it 2 balls and 2 strikes. Gavin Turley was retired on 3 pitches. A swinging strikeout his first go-around. Leaves a fastball up at the letters. And a nice take by Gavin Turley, who was behind quickly to begin. He's now worked it full.
And that's what we've seen from him over this stretch that he's heated up, working good ABs.
The full count pitch, swing and a miss. Slider inside third. Turley swinging strikeout for him, the second one he's had all day. And that's 3 straight against Falmouth and 7 total from this pitching staff of the Mariners.
Newman's dealing. All these guys are pitching well for Harwich. If they get performances like this going into the weekend, they'll definitely take that, and it'll play against whether it's Orleans or YD.
It'll come down to game 44 out there in the East, and the way it's looking, we'll know everything for the West probably within, I'd say, an hour and a half or so. We'll keep you all updated on that as well. Humphrey's in there now for the second time. He's going to leave that pitch off the plate. Slider low and away to the Falmouth outfielder in there tonight, to Nate Humphreys. Nate, a swinging strikeout to end the second inning. 1-1, outside third, called for a strike. Fastball, low and away. Dallas Baptist outfielder for Humphreys now has to work from behind once again. Jake Newman gets the sign. Full wind, delivers. Spiked that splitter down in the zone. A good leave by Nate. Just seeing pitches. With the way that splitter works, you can kind of just spit on it once you see it down there. But it has been a good put-away pitch here. The 2-2. Outside third. Decided to slide it on him, and it was off the plate. Good leave by Nate. Adjusts his helmet in there from that left side. Waggles his baseball bat forward, looking for Newman to come into his motion, and now rests and ready. The offering. Got him looking. Ran the fastball on the outer third, and Nate Humphreys has to walk back as a disbeliever. Don't look now. That's 5 consecutive strikeouts against the Doors. Another 1-2-3. Falmouth still at 0 through its part of the fourth. Harwich up next when we come back. Bottom 4 coming up. Right now, Falmouth really struggling in the batter's box to this point, but good for the Doors. You're getting a good start from Jacob Smith, who toes the rubber for his 4th time now in this ball game. He'll see 2, 3, 4, Devin Obie, Ethan Anderson, and Cam Leary. A couple of right-handed bats before we see a lefty. Speaking of one of those righties, a big cut and a miss from Devin Obie. He came up empty there. Obie this summer, 5 home runs, 23 RBIs. Spent time in center field today, getting a chance to rest his legs a little bit ahead of the playoffs and working in the designated hitter spot. A check swing on a pitch down in the dirt from Smith, but down the first base line, J.C. Fernandez says no, he did not. To tell you the umpires, Marvin Gomez behind home plate. J.C. Fernandez just told us that was a ball. And Tom Ryberg down the third baseline round out tonight's 3-man umpiring crew here at Whitehouse Field. The 1-1 off the glove of Yannick, off the plate and away, went off his glove and straight back to the backstop. He kind of looked down at his glove almost like, I don't know why that happened. Makes it 2 balls and 1 strike. A swinging strikeout for Devin Obie, one of 3 strikeout victims for Jacob Smith to this point today. Just 1 hit so far, and it was Caden Shapiro, the new guy for Falmouth. Big cut and a miss here, though, from Devin Obie getting back to this live at-bat. Pulled the string once again, 78 on the gun on that pitch. And now it's a 2-2 count. Smith, a shake of his head before coming set now from the stretch with nobody aboard. Lifts his leg, offers. Sharp ground ball to Eze at short. Fields it cleanly. Long throw across the diamond. A little bit low, but Tyler McGregor with a stretch makes the play for the first out.
Smith looks good. Some more good pitches, locating well. Able to work himself in and out of trouble in these ABs and cruising.
Zach, if anything else, it's just maybe what? More seeing the ground ball to his help with all those different pitches. Typically seeing him strike out upwards of 5 to 6, even 7 batters at a time. This is a different approach from Smith.
And it's what we've seen the last couple outings. The strikeout numbers have been a little lower over the last few, but he's pitching to contact, and guys are making plays for him tonight, which is what you're looking to see.
Well, against a Harwich offense that, to this point of the summer, not one of the very best through now getting into game 43. 8th in the Cape League in runs, 8th in hits, as you see that one missed down low. 2-0 count here now to Ethan Anderson.
They can turn it on sometimes, though. The same day that Falmouth put up 27 on Katuitt, Harwich put up 21 on Brewster.
Jacob Smith working here against Ethan Anderson. The offering, cut and a miss. Nice spot there to get that big wave and a miss. Looked like that big slow curveball from Smith for strike number 1 of this at-bat. Walker Yannick calling the balls and strikes there behind the plate. Rests with one knee on the ground, anticipating this offering here. It's a high ground ball here with McGregor coming in to play it. He's got to flip to Smith and not in time. That's a really tough play for everybody here. You can rule that an infield hit. The first of its kind for the Mariners tonight.
As a pitcher, you hate that. The first hit that you give up is a fastball out of the zone up on a check swing ground ball.
For what it's worth, that breaks up the no-hitter. And now both teams just a hit aside. I mean, it has been the pitching dominating the matchup tonight. But now you got a base runner aboard in Ethan Anderson. Cam Leary steps in. He worked a walk last time, swiped second, but then was thrown out at third to put an end to the inning. Walker Yannick, 2 for 2 so far when having base runners test him. Jacob Smith able to find the zone there for strike number 1. Little off-speed pitch there from Jacob. Left on left here, having to keep tabs on Ethan Anderson now. This is another one of those high choppers, except it gets foul. Right now, the Mariners just getting on top of that pitch. In this case, was the changeup, Zach. But, I mean, it's just bouncing off the ground and going 10 or 15 feet in the air. Takes a while for it to come back down. Saw that. It was a tough play. I mean, the way that McGregor was able to flip it, Jacob Smith kind of toe dancing a little bit there at first. Got over there, but just not in time. No balls and 2 strikes here to Cam Leary. Takes it off the plate. A slider there low and away in towards that right-handed batter's box. Leary stays honest up there, and it's 1-2. Press that bat over his left shoulder here. Does Leary in there from the left side. Big breaking ball, and it's pulled foul along the right field line. Ahead of the slow pitch there. Comes in at 75. We'll keep going here. A ball and 2 strikes. Marvick Gomez, there was time called behind the plate. He now says play ball. And we'll get going here with Yannick setting up their outer third of the plate. Could be calling for maybe that fastball up. We'll see what it is. The offering is the fastball up. Frame job looked pretty good, but it's just off the plate. Not a bad pitch to make it 2-2.
You can use that pitch to set it up. You can go off speed here, whether it's the big slow curve or whether he goes to a slide piece away. I think that's what you're going to see.
Leary just 1 hit through his first 3 games and change now since arriving with the Mariners. This breaking ball over the head of Cam Leary, and that's going to award second base to Ethan Anderson. A wild pitch. Now puts a Harwich Mariner in scoring position.
Yannick's not happy with himself. Popped off of his glove.
That is a very tough play anyways to make, but certainly did hit his glove. You could hear the thump of his mitt. Lawson didn't know where it was for a second and rolled right in front of us here. This real deep backstop here can certainly hurt pitchers and backstops too. The pitch fouled off of himself, did Leary. Yannick will throw Yannick will throw Jacob Smith a new baseball. Give that old one back to Marvick Gomez behind the plate. Trying to utilize, in that case there, another one of those breaking balls he likes to throw for the put-away pitch. It's good to have a couple in your arsenal, but right now, the second time through the order, you're seeing the Mariners put up more of a fight against it. Smith, a look to second. Ethan Anderson stays put there, and now he offers. This time he pops it up. It's coming right to us. I think it's going to get over the fence almost. Went off of the cage right in front of us here, Zach. That could have been that first souvenir foul ball we were expecting here.
It got close. I thought you were finally going to get one, Matt.
I did too. I was getting ready to anticipate it. Now they throw it over. It's going to be a souvenir for someone not named you or me, Zach. I mean, the way that thing was coming, I thought it was going to hit off the top of the cage and then redirect way over our head. Instead, it grazed on its way back down to earth here. Probably about 10 or 15 feet high. A full count pitch will do it again. Anderson dancing there at second. Offers. Knee-high fastball, but misses for a ball downstairs. He had a base to work with, but nonetheless, a free pass here, the third of its kind here for the Mariners. And now it's second and first with 1 out.
Number 11, Brian Arndt.
Not ideal for Smith, but a ground ball still gets you out of the inning.
Brian Arndt now has an RBI chance here. 11 of those for him this summer. But he's got 2 men on here. Was a strikeout victim looking for the first out of the second inning.
It was a really good breaking ball that got him frozen.
Going to third. It's a hit and run, and it's executed perfectly. A base hit into left field, easily into score is Ethan Anderson. An RBI single for Brian Arndt, his 12th run driven in this summer. And the Mariners break the goose egg first. It's 1-0.
Just not the inning that Falmouth was looking for, and the momentum really switched after the Doors got the bases loaded with nobody out in the third and couldn't bring anybody around. And since then, Mariners have really controlled this game.
That pitch was 106 miles per hour off the bat. Just an absolute laser into left field. It got to Gavin Turley quickly, and because of that, Cam Leary was only able to go from first to second. That's where he is now, standing at second. Then you have Brian Arndt behind him at first. Big breaking ball here. It's rolled to first base. McGregor's going to do it himself. That's a really good pitch from Smith. To get that out, 3 unassisted, moves everyone up 90 feet. Now you've got third and second with 2 out.
Need to keep this at 1. If you can limit the damage, keep yourself in a spot that you've got a shot, especially with this type of offense that Falmouth has. You're never out of a game.
The Gamecock, Talmadge LeCroy now. In there from the right side. Has a chance here to kind of break this game open, but Jacob Smith trying to work out of it. Got a big cut and a miss there on that big curveball. Starts up above the zone and then ends half a foot off the ground by the time Yannick receives it in his glove. Just really works so well, keeping hitters off balance here. Smith, deep breath, delivers. Got a check swing. No swing, though, from Lee Croy. Evens it up at 1. The defense slightly favoring the left side of the infield here. Bazana playing a little deep at second, but favoring the right side of second base here with his heels just up against the skirt of the outfield grass. This one gets away from Yannick, and that's going to bring in a run. Cam Leroy comes in standing, and that, my friends, might be a pass ball on that one there. Yannick looking down at his glove, couldn't believe it, Zach, and that's the second run for the Mariners.
That's the second time we've seen a ball get away from him this inning that's brought in a run. The first one moved up the runner into scoring position, and then he scored on the base hit. That one brings it in directly.
That one-out walk by Jacob Smith now comes in to score, and Cam Leary there. And now all the way to third is Brian Arndt. He just had himself an RBI hit. Just like that, he's standing at third base. Changeup misses down in the dirt. And it's 3 balls and 1 strike. Awaiting on deck, Cam Caraher had himself a ground ball out to Michael Eze last time. One of those would work really well for Falmouth here, trying to dance out of this inning with just 2 given up. The 3-1 bends the curveball in there for a strike on the outer third. And that makes it a full count. Big spot here with Falmouth trying to dance out of it here. But Smith coming set. His offering on the way. In and out of the glove of Yannick. It's a called third strike. He'll slap the tag on. That was a changeup down in the zone, but nonetheless, it works the same. Jacob Smith picks up a big strikeout there, his 4th of the ball game, but not before 2 Mariners come in during this 4th inning. After 4, it's the home team on top by 2 as we move on here to the 5th. Jake Newman back out there to begin this 5th inning. He'll see 7, 8, 9 of Falmouth, the part of the order that got the bases loaded with nobody out. But then the 1, 2, 3 guys went down in order after 7, 8, 9 set the table, Zach. And now we talked about how big that inning could have been. You're down behind the 8 ball now quickly in response. It's 2-0 now with Harwich on top as we begin the 5th. Eze bunting. It hit him up in his face area, and then he kept running. You don't see that every day.
You don't usually see a bunt like that then bounce into fair territory.
The bunt off the ground, then came up, hit him in the face, went back in fair play. But then behind the plate, Marvin Gomez said, that's a foul ball. So we do it again. That was very weird, but now you've shown your cards face up with the bunt. We'll see if it's still on here. It is not, as Eze rips one on one hop, making the play as Brinker at second, the throw to first in time for the first out.
Not a bad AB. Looking for a pitch on an 0-1 and found it. Hit it decently hard, just right at somebody.
Sean Darnell worked a walk last time during that inning of Falmouth trying to get the bases loaded back in the third. Darnell, 10 of 28 this summer so far for the Doors. A home run, a long home run at Lowell Park in that explosive victory for Falmouth that we keep alluding to. 6 runs driven in for him as well. But he's ahead 1-0 here. Newman delivers. Fastball at the belt. Called for a strike. Sean Darnell back at third base today. He's going to line one here off the end of the bat, and it gets down into center for a base hit. The third baseman from Wallace Community College, again, continues his run. Has hits now in 6 of the 7 games he's been here for Falmouth.
It's a nice spot down there. Falmouth finding some talent from Wallace Community College. They'll definitely take it.
From Princeton, number 9,
In between Cade Snell and Ryan McCarroll, who may or may not be one of those starting options during the playoffs. If nothing else, you move him back into the bullpen. He'll provide you some length. But he has been real good for Falmouth, as is Cade Snell. Cade Snell got himself here as an all-star to Whitehouse Field. But nonetheless, Sean Darnell certainly making an impact in his very limited amount of time here with Falmouth. And now it's Caden Shapiro. Takes the first one in there for a strike. He fouls one here off of home plate, and it goes in fair territory, but it was, again, chopped foul previously. So he's behind quickly, 0-2.
Man, that's spun to a perfect spot. Had it not hit him or hit something there, that would have been a perfect swinging bunt.
Being picked up from the NECBL's Martha's Vineyard team, not too far from us in Falmouth. Had himself a good summer as he takes that slider off the plate. 29 games in the NECBL, a 305 hitter, just 1 home run on 15 runs driven in. A couple of those Martha's Vineyard players now in here with Falmouth. A ball and 2 strikes. It's a good leave on a breaking ball. Front door down at the tippy toes of Shapiro. He leaves it down there, and it's 2-2. Newman accepts the sign, comes set, and delivers. Yanks that heater off the plate and away towards that right-handed batter's box. And good credit to Shapiro, working from 0-2, now into a full count. He's worked some good at-bats so far. That 0-1 base hit he had last time up, one of those would certainly work here with Darnell standing at first, not extending his primary lead. Newman a look to him, and the offering just fouled off the end of the bat. Shapiro adjusts his gloves, and we'll do it again.
That's a really good piece of hitting. Pitch out of the zone, a little bit outside, but into strike count. You don't want to leave it up to Marvin Gomez behind the plate. Just get a piece of it, spoil it. Now you get another pitch to work with.
That fastball coming in at just 86 miles an hour, but much quicker than that splitter that we see. Speaking of fastball, there's one up and in towards the chest area of Shapiro. He leans out of the way and works himself a walk. That's a real good battle to extend the inning here. And again, it's 7-8-9 for Falmouth, trying to find a way to now set it back to the top for Caleb Hall.
And the top of the order has been the bread and butter for Falmouth over the last month. They're going to try and keep it going again. We've seen a few new faces there, but the guy in the 2-hole's been there all summer long during this stretch and has been lights out for the majority of it.
That's Travis Bazzana. He awaits on deck, rocking number 21 tonight, not his usual number 7. But Caleb Hall takes that pitch low and in, the slider for a ball. Hall in there from that right side, a lot of power generated there. The 0-1 pitch up high. Hall skies one out into right center. Calling for it is Larry, and he makes the play. Gets the ball in quickly into the infield. Darnell could not tag, and that is out number 2.
Just way out in front on that pitch and didn't get it cleanly the other way. Just kind of stayed upright and flicked it up in the air.
And now Travis Bazzana. Big spot for him here. He struck out swinging for out number 2 of that bases loaded situation for Falmouth back in the third. Now he's got 2 men on with 2 away. Something's got to be hit cleanly here to try and get the Doors on the board. First pitch, fastball at the knees, called for strike 1 by Marvin Gomez behind the plate. Bazzana, the team leader in average, the leader in the Cape League in average, having himself a fantastic summer, getting into his 32nd contest with Falmouth here. The 0-1, fastball outer third, called strike 2. Didn't like that one. He's very disciplined up there, but now you got to protect. Bazzana chokes up maybe just a hair, not a whole lot, but bends his knees a little bit more and widens his stance. The 0-2 from Newman. Fastball upstairs, tried to work him backwards, but it's a good leave by the Beaver in the box.
We mentioned the hit streak for Bazzana, but to tell you how hot he's been, he's got 7 straight multi-hit games, with a lot of those being 3+ hit performances.
He's going to need some hits here consecutively in the later stretch of this game to continue that. Darnell was going on the pitch, but Bazzana fouled it on a changeup there, chopping towards first base. The double steal was on there for the Doors, trying to put the game in motion here. And sometimes, Zach, when the offense is stalled a little bit like it is maybe right now, that's kind of what you have to do.
Well, Darnell got a really good jump. He had been creeping and trying to time up the leg lift of Newman on the mound, and he did it there. I don't think he'll be on the move again here, though.
He is extending his primary lead by half baby steps here. The offering, fastball driven into center field for a base hit. Darnell rounding third, a wide turn home. He's coming in. The play at the plate. It is in time. Sean Darnell is gunned out from center by Bosland to end the inning. Bazzana came up with that base hit, extends his hitting streak, but can't come in with an RBI as Sean Darnell is gunned out at the plate. And 5 consecutive zeros put up. But an exclamation point to end the top of the 5th as the Doors are retired at the plate for out number 3. It's still 2-0 for Harwich as we continue on from Whitehouse Field. An emphatic end to the top of the 5th inning, and now it comes down to the bullpen trying to keep Falmouth in the game. Jacob Smith, a really good quality start. His day is over, and the ball is handed to Kyle Bloor.
Kyle Bloor was really good in his last outing. It came back in that win over Katuitt. He got a save in the 27-2 win. He went the final 4 innings for Falmouth, gave up just 1 run. Looked pretty good doing it. He's got a really electric fastball coming from the right side. Different type of look you're going to see than what you saw from Jacob Smith through the first 4 innings of work.
His slider snaps, too. He's got really good spin on that pitch. And the fastball in there at the mid-80s, or rather 90s, 94 during those warm-ups. And that's what you like to see. But as we mentioned, Jacob Smith, a really, really good outing. 4 innings, gave up 2 hits, 2 runs, unfortunately, there in that previous inning of offensive opportunity for the Mariners. 3 walks that, unfortunately, a couple of them came back to get him. And then the 4 Ks. But Kyle Bloor starts off the right way here against Cam Carraher. He finds a fastball in there for a strike up and away in this left on right matchup here. Working out of the stretch with nobody on. Tries to go downstairs with that slider. Snaps it down low for a ball. Carraher, first pitch swinging in the 3rd. It was a ground out to Michael Eze. Bloor puts one down in the dirt. Another one of those sliders. And it makes it 2-1. Out of Tennessee West Lane is Kyle Bloor. I've seen him in 2 different instances now, but his 3rd opportunity today. The big, mighty fastball there, cut on and missed. An aggressive cut there from tonight's left fielder. Evens it up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bloor Rocking number 10 for the Doors this summer. Just barely couldn't find the zone there on a fastball up and away. Getting ready to enter a senior campaign. Just over a 5.0 ERA this year. 30 innings pitched, 40 strikeouts. A lot of them swing and misses on the fastball. He's shown us that, no doubt, so far in a few instances this summer. The 3-2, that's a fastball. It's a jam shot that's going to loop and fall down into shallow center for a leadoff base hit.
This game has makings of one that's going well for Harwich. They feel good about how they're pitching and how they're playing overall. They fought through a good start, got Jacob Smith out of the game, and swinging it well.
So now Jackson Brinker will work in there from the right side. Struck out swinging in his lone appearance today. Bloor greets him with a fastball at 92, and it's sent straight back for a foul ball. It has been the one thing, if anything, that's gotten to Bloor just a little bit, and his first going was the hits that he gave up. But certainly corrected that in that 4-inning save opportunity. The hit and run is on, and this one is shot into the gap in right center for a base hit. That's going to allow Caraher to go first to third. He was already on the move, and a perfect hit and run. The second time we've seen it today from these Mariners. Now they're on the corners with still nobody out.
It's a fastball that caught a lot of plate. Didn't miss it.
Jackson Brinker picks up his first hit today, and that one just jumped off the bat at 90 on the exit velocity. Lineup card back up to the top. Daniel Rivera has himself an 0 for 2 day today, but his teammates in the 8 and 9 spot have given him a chance here to extend an already 2-0 lead for Harwich today. Bloor still works out of the stretch, and a really ugly swing there, a half-hearted effort on a check swing, slider downstairs. Makes it no balls and 1 strike. The Mariners rocking their cream home jerseys today. Cream on cream for the pants and jersey look here. Now you see Rivera get the bunt down. It'll work, and Bloor's got no play. As he retrieves it with his bare hand, a run comes in to score. An infield base hit. Maybe it wasn't the plan, but nonetheless an RBI picked off. It's 3-0 with 2 on still and nobody out.
When you got that much speed, I think a base hit is the plan anytime Daniel Rivera lays down a bunt. He was cruising down that line.
We mentioned the 50 stolen bases this year. With that speed, you're right. You can get any infield knock you want. Now the situation changes big time. First pitch swinging. It's sent out into right in shallow foul territory, and it's actually going to get over the fence, slicing away foul. Shapiro was giving it a look out there in right. Thought he had a play on it at first. So that's the first strike. Devin Obie, 0 for 2. But again, the effort from Jacob Smith, maybe the decision to pull him, one of two things, Zach. I would think maybe not wanting the lineup to see him a third time, but obviously just keeping him fresh, as he's probably going to be one of your guys in maybe game 2, even possibly a potential game 3 against Hyannis. Bloor, fastball at the knees, called for a strike, 0-2.
He threw a lot of pitches in those first 4 innings as well. I think he's definitely a piece that normally is going to start the games for you. He could come in, though, in an interesting spot if you need him later in game 2 or 3, depending on how that series goes. Game 1 on Friday is going to be massive, though. You really have to attack early in a series like that, especially when you don't have home field advantage like it looks like Falmouth won't, barring some comebacks here and at McKeon.
You can say that again here. The 1-2, cut and a miss. That's a nice pitch there. Well, with that slider inside third, wave and a miss for out number 1.
It's a good pitch. Really tough to hit if you're not looking for it, especially when the fastball comes in at 92 to 95. You got to get to it.
Now Ethan Anderson with 1 out, still second and first. You got 1 home already in the inning. Jackson Brinker had a base hit. He stands at second. Now you've got Daniel Rivera with that bunt single RBI. He stands at first. Anderson takes one in there at the knees for strike number 1. Good location of the fastball. That's 94, the hottest we've seen it from Kyle Bloor. He brings it really hard, But again, sometimes has gotten beat with some hits scattered throughout his starts and outings. This one pulled and easily fouled, but that thing jumped off the bat. And it's 0-2.
Anderson wanted that pitch. He's trying to wait on the slider. Just didn't wait long enough.
Kyle Bloor working quickly now, ahead 0-2. A look to second, lifts his leg and delivers. This one popped up. Charging in at third is Darnell over the dugout of Harwich, and he just barely didn't have a play on it. The way he was running in there, Zach, he went into the opening of the dugout there where the steps are. It's not like he was leaning over a whole lot in there, but just didn't quite get there in enough time to maybe settle himself to have a chance at it.
Yeah, and I think it was a little bit further than he's got on his arm, just trying to reach as far over as he can, and came up a little short.
Doors trying to tightrope out of a jam here. Already 3 in this ball game for the Mariners and 1 in this inning. Fastball up and away. It's a good leave from Anderson for the first ball in this count. The Mariners, 3 runs over the last 2 innings now, but 3 runs on 5 hits, no errors. The Doors right now, the offense so good, but no runs on 3 hits and 1 mistake in the field. Kyle Bloor, slider in at the knees, but it's a good leave by Anderson. Just a little far too inside into the left-handed bat of Anderson here. And we now have a 2-ball, 2-strike situation here. Bloor coming set. Delivers, pulls the string. That's that slider, and it comes up big, low and away for a swinging strikeout, back-to-back of that variety. And now you have 2 big outs in a row.
You can find your way out of this, limit the damage. This offense has not been shut out all year. They're really good, and they find ways to get runs across. If you can keep it within a manageable distance, you've got to think they're at least going to give you a shot.
I mean, yesterday, Falmouth down 2 with 2 outs and found a way to load the bases and eventually win that game in extras. First pitch swinging on a slider. It's into shallow left center, but it's being called off by Michael Eze over there to make that play in the short grass to put in his back pocket and get the Doors out of the inning. But not before we see a couple of hits that result in an infield bunt single RBI. 1 more run added to the total of the Mariners. It's 3-0 for the home team. And when we come back, not only will the Doors offense try to get going, but Zach Surdenik takes the headset on the other side.
Top of the 6th from Harwich. Still a goose egg on the scoreboard for Falmouth. More like 5 of them put up by this Harwich pitching staff as Walker Yannick leads it off, trying to change that. Jake Newman out for another inning of work. This will be his 4th. It was the starter Picone. He went 1. Then Zane Probst got himself 1. And now Jake Newman ever since. First pitch to Yannick. Fastball called strike. The inside part of the plate. To start him off, it's 0-1. A fly out to center and a strikeout for the Commodores catcher. Newman, the lefty, from the windup. Another fastball, high chopper, third base side, and foul. Bounces just to the left of the bag before Talmadge Lecroy snags it, and it's 0-2. Newman comfortable on the mound. He had 6 innings of work on the summer for Harwich entering tonight. Last outing was 4 1/3 for him against Brewster in that 21-5 win a couple of days ago. Goes to the splitter on 0-2. It's outside. It's a 1-2 count to Yannick. Infield deep across the diamond. The lefty into the motion, that high leg kick. 1-2 fastball is hit high and deep out to left. Going back is Caraher to the wall. He's looking up, and he can't make the catch. It's gone. Crashes into the wall, but couldn't bring it back. Walker Yannick with his 5th home run of the season. And the Doors are on the board in the 6th.
Well, that's a good way to start for Falmouth here after 5 consecutive innings of no offense. But you can't give Yannick a hanging slider like that. I mean, that's just in his wheelhouse, and he just took it to work. Just 80 on the gun, right at the letters. And he pulls that one down the left field line for that first run of the Doors.
Tyler McGregor swinging on the first pitch, gets it past a diving glove of Brinker at second and into right field. And very quickly in the top of the 6th, the tying run's coming up to the plate in Gavin Turley.
I love the aggressiveness. Just looking for something there. That's a fastball at the letters. And it's pulled there for a base hit. I mean, that's how it works. You have a diving effort from Brinker, make it contested, but a good start for McGregor here. And hitting's contagious, just keeping the line moving.
The second time that Newman has had to face this middle of the order, it's gone much differently than the first. First pitch to Turley, took a big hack at the fastball, like finds nothing but air. McGregor, Turley, and Humphreys were all strikeout victims last time, as well as Yannick against Newman. Struck out 5 straight between 2 and 6 in the Falmouth order. The first time through, line drive to first and a double play. Anderson gets back and touches the bag before McGregor can dive back in. Nothing that he could do about it. A shot right at Ethan Anderson, and Newman finds himself 2 outs on 1 pitch.
That is incredibly deflating because of how the Doors had been going. I mean, you talk about a line drive the other way from Turley. Ethan Anderson stands real tall there at first base, but that hurts. 2 outs on that line drive.
Now Nate Humphreys steps up from the left side, takes a fastball up above the letters to start off the AB. Dallas Baptist Patriot 0 for 2. Pair of strikeouts for him. Slider catches the zone on the front door, evens it up. Ball and a strike. Newman in the wind once again. The 1-1. Speeds it back up with the heater and finds the zone. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Newman works quick like a lot of these Harwich pitchers, and he's right back into the motion. 1-2. Slides away from Humphreys and evens it up. Trying to keep the inning alive for Michael Eze on deck. Falmouth already getting 1 back this inning on the Walker Yannick home run. 2-2. Sliced foul towards that Harwich dugout. Humphrey stays alive again.
Yeah, that time, that's that splitter that we've seen so often. That one got a little bit of plate, but nonetheless.
Another 2-2. Hard ground ball the other way, fielded on a hop by LeCroy. The throw across retires the Commodores center fielder. So Falmouth with the leadoff homer and then the base hit. But the double play takes that runner off the base paths. The ground out retires the side. We're heading to the bottom of the 6th. Mariners by 2 from Whitehouse Field. Kyle Bloor back out for a second inning here in the bottom of the sixth. He gave up one. In the bottom of the fifth, the offense got it right back for him. Trying to put up a 0 for him in the bottom half of this sixth inning. He's going to have to go through 5, 6, 7 of the Harwich order, and that means Brian Arndt stepping in. Righty, lefty, righty for the Mariners to face the right-handed pitcher on the mound out of Tennessee Wesleyan and Kyle Bloor. Works exclusively from the stretch, holds that glove at the belt, high leg kick, starts off with a snapping slider at 80 miles an hour. It's 0-1. Brian Arndt struck out in the second, had an RBI single in the fourth, brought in the game's first run. 0-1 goes to the changeup down in the dirt, diving away from Arndt. He comes up empty on the swing.
Zach, haven't seen that pitch a whole lot from Kyle Bloor. Just pulling it out his second time seeing bats here. Works effectively there for that swing and miss.
Arndt digs back in. Catcher out of UNC Wilmington. Angles that bat over the right shoulder. Bend to the knees. Slightly open stance. 0-2. Fastball fouled back. Bloor going to the heater at 93. Another 0-2 count awaiting. Infield's deep everywhere. Bazana playing in shallow right field. They're shading Arndt to pull. Right leg kick, 0-2. Breaking ball, popped up on the infield. Darnell calls off Yannick, and it drops between the two of them, just in foul territory. And it's new life for Arndt at the plate.
And Yannick talking to himself too, because he's the general of the infield. I mean, he's the one that should take priority on that baseball. And you have a charging Sean Darnell, who, as you mentioned, they're playing deep. They're shading the pull side. His heels, when he's getting ready for the pitch, are a foot away from the grass out there, backed up deep at third base. So that ball, just on a light little roll, is Yannick's all day. And that ball falls down. You got to hope it doesn't hurt you here, because Bloor executed perfectly there.
It won't hurt him. Goes into the dirt with the changeup and punches him out. Kyle Bloor settling himself into this ball game. That's his third strikeout, and he's retired 4 straight after giving up hits to the first 3 he faced.
That's massive. That's big. You didn't want that to hurt you, given the way the last couple of innings have gone. You don't get that leadoff man on. You find a way to get that first out.
Now you get the center fielder, Justin Boslin. Tall outfielder stepping in from that right side. Squares to bunt down the third base line. Darnell fields on a charge. Throw in the dirt is picked out by McGregor, but he came off the bag first trying to pick it. And Boslin takes first base on what will almost assuredly be ruled an infield single.
Third baseman from South Carolina, number 10.
Just unfortunate there. Darnell fielded it on the second hop, so he definitely got to the ball quickly. The throw was down a little bit, but McGregor, with that stretch, takes him off the bag. We've seen that a couple times this summer where he just can't quite keep his foot on the bag when he tries to pick it there. And that hurts because that should be out too.
Fastball for a called strike to Talmadge Lecroy. South Carolina Gamecock 0 for 1. Walked in the second, struck out in the fourth. Boslin has really good speed. Breaking ball fouled back. It's 0-2. Boslin, 14 stolen bags at Northeastern. Not thrown out at all. Walker Yannick's already caught a pair of them stealing. Bounce that bat off the right shoulder is Lecroy. Runner takes off, picked out of the dirt by Yannick, throw down, and he still got him. Do not run on Walker Yannick. 2 away.
Well, that time, again, Yannick picking up for 2 mistakes in the field. Get that error from Eze earlier. He throws out Daniel Rivera trying to swipe second. And that time, just a tough play on that stretch. Now Boslin gets gunned at second base. Yannick 3 for 3 when being tested.
And now a chance to quickly get out of the inning. 1-2, slider taken low and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Lecroy. Circles that bat around as he awaits the delivery from Bloor. Comes set at the belt. Right leg kick, 2-2 fastball, strike 3 called. Sends him back to the dugout looking. Pair of strikeouts, and that caught stealing. Retires the side. Falmouth puts up a 0 on the scoreboard defensively. Offense back to the plate, trailing a couple, headed to the 7th from Harwich. The Walker Yannick home run pulled the Doors within 2 in the 6th, and Walker Yannick's heroics behind the plate have helped to keep him there. He's caught 3 Mariners attempting to steal in this game, including one in the bottom of the 6th. Now 7, 8, 9 for Falmouth coming up. They've reached in 5 of the 6 plate appearances between the 3 of them. Newman starts off Eze with a called strike. He's the lone man to retire any of them, and it was a ground out that he induced from Eze in the 5th. Check swing down in the dirt on the splitter, and Eze lays off it. A ball and a strike. Newman continuing his work on the mound. Third base side from the windup. Left leg kick, the 1-1. Big swing and a miss from Eze. Comes up empty on the heater in the mid-80s. It's now 1-2. Infield deep everywhere. Eze chokes up a little bit, widens the stance with 2 strikes. The 1-2. Pop foul out of play. Got another fastball and spoils it to stay alive.
That one off the plate a little bit, Zach. Just a good cut to stay with it. Might set up that splitter down low.
The 1-2 is the splitter. Bounces in, and Eze lays off it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Nobody out, 3-1. Harwich in front. Top of the 7th inning from Whitehouse Field. The break even. Check swing. And he went around. Strike 3 is the call. Eze goes down by way of the strikeout. Yet another one, the 6th. Worked by Jake Newman. The first, though, since he retired 5 in a row with the strikeout between the 3rd and 4th innings.
And that was part of the run of the Doors, getting the bases loaded and then having them strand. And then the Yannick home run en route to then the McGregor hit that he got doubled off on because of that line out. So what that means is the Doors are seeing it a little bit better that second time through.
Sean Darnell takes a fastball high and outside. Start off ahead 1-0. Darnell and Shapiro have both reached both times up. Darnell this time taking below the knees. It's 2-0. Each guy with a single and a walk. They've flip-flopped which way they've done it. It was the single for Darnell last time, and now breaking ball away, and it's 3-0. Sean Darnell well on his way to potentially a walk in the 3rd plate appearance. There is an arm up and throwing for Harwich. It's Scott Ellis. 3-0 fastball finds the zone on the inner 3rd, makes it 3-1. Harwich hoping that Newman can get him through the 7th here with a 2-run lead. 3-1 swinging, heads up over the net on the first base side. Darnell lost the bat as he couldn't catch that fastball. And it's full 3-2.
Channeling his inner Gavin Turley there, although that's the second time we've seen Sean Darnell lose a baseball bat on a swing there. Sometimes just need a little bit more of that rosin on the handle, and you can see him right now just gripping down the baseball bat, trying to get the gloves a little bit more sticky to come through on a cut here, Zach.
Payoff pitch. Swing and a miss. Elevates the fastball. Comes back from down 3-0 in a count. Back-to-back strikeouts again. And it's 7 punch-outs in relief from Jake Newman.
And that's a 10th overall today. Commodores, as a team, don't strike out all that often. Fourth lowest total in the Cape League coming into today's action. And again, a group in Harwich that doesn't strike out a lot of people themselves. It's just one of those days.
Fastball for a called strike to Caden Shapiro. 1-for-1 with a walk for the Princeton Tiger. Newman delivers. Slider low and away. Evens it up. Central Connecticut State Blue Devil on the mound in Newman. Right back to the mound. Gets the sign from Martin. Goes into the motion. The 1-1. Swing and a miss. Through the fastball low. Dropping away from the bat of Shapiro. A ball and 2 strikes. Newman looking to strike out the side. Shapiro trying to change that. Splitter in the dirt laid off. 2-2. They're shading him to pull quite a bit on the right side. Brinker playing well in the hole at second. 2-2. High chopper right to that hole at second base. Brinker with a quick flip to retire Shapiro by a step. Falmouth down in order in the top of the 7th. It's still 3-1 as we stretch from Whitehouse Field. Now that we're all stretched and ready to go, we can get back to action here in the bottom of the 7th. 3-1 Harwich the score. Kyle Bloor back out for a third inning of work. He'll face 8-9-1 in the Mariners order. Falmouth struggled at the plate today, just the 1 run across. Harwich has struggled for the most part too. They've got 5 hits, all of them coming between those 2 innings that they scored in. Had a pair of them in the 4th, and then 3 of them in the 5th. And that made it 3-0 on that 3rd run coming across in the 5th inning. For Harwich, Falmouth got the home run, but nothing more just yet. Slider starts off. Cam Caraher with a called strike. Kyle Bloor has settled himself in. Righty with that high leg kick. Fires another slider down in the dirt. Gets a swing and a miss, and it's 0-2.
Just a real good pitch out of the hand. That one's down the whole way, but comes back in towards the shoe tops of the lefty and Caraher, and that's why you get that swing and miss. It's tempting.
Widens that stance. Big bend in the knees. Fastball high and outside. It's 1-2. Batting from the left side. He's got back foot on the back of the batter's box. Holds the bat straight up and now angles it over the shoulder as Bloor comes set. The 1-2 delivery. Swing and a miss. Fastball at the letters. Blows it by him at 91. 5th strikeout for Kyle Bloor and the first out of the bottom of the 7th.
The 9th by the Commodores today. I mean, both pitching staffs are just dominating, and sometimes it just might be one of those games. The pitchers just having the the better of it, and sometimes that's how it goes. It's just not very common for a game involving the Commodores.
Here's Jackson Brinker, steps up, first pitch slider inside, backs out of the way of it. It's 1-0. Bloor leans in to get the sign from Yannick. Brinker out of St. Lawrence. Takes the pitch low. He's ahead in the count, 2-0. A single and a strikeout. To this point, this is the debut on the Cape for Brinker. Bloor takes a deep breath, comes set at the belt. 2-0 slider. Tried to go to the same spot as the first one, and once again couldn't catch the edge. It's 3-0. No walks issued to this point by Kyle Bloor, but he has fallen behind a couple hitters. We'll see if he can battle back. 3-0 fastball. Called strike. Just off of the center of the plate. It's 3-1. Deep everywhere. Sun has set here in Harwich. The lights illuminating Whitehouse Field. 3-1. Fires in another heater. Bloor's fought back. It's 3-2.
Well, use that pitch to get you back, and could be a spot of 3 in a row here.
The payoff from Bloor. Broken bat, ground ball to third. Darnell Fields moving to his left. Throw in the dirt, picked out by McGregor for out number 2.
Well, it was. It was a fastball. That were 92. May have hurt off the contact. There's a shattered bat from Jackson Brinker. And Darnell makes that play again. It's a little bit of a low throw. He's kind of had some low throws over there today. That time McGregor, though, keeps his foot on the bag. It was a pick, but he was still able to get the kind of the bottom scoop part of that glove underneath it, so he didn't really have to make the biggest pick in the world. But nonetheless, you help your third baseman out when that throws low for a big out.
Lineup card flips over, and Mike Landry wants to make a change. Kyle Bloor's evening is done. A new pitcher coming out to face Daniel Rivera with 2 away in the 7th. We'll give you all the info on the other side of the break. This is your home for Falmouth Commodores baseball. New pitcher is a Commodore debut. On this night in Harwich, it's Brian VR out of Keystone.
Yeah, the righty had north of a 6 ERA this year at school, 61 Ks to 22 walks.
He'll face Daniel Rivera for his first batter. Fastball outside at 88. To get his Commodores career underway, just needs 1 out in this inning. With 2 away, a 3-1 deficit for the Doors. Top of the order due up in the top of the 8th. That fastball catches the zone. VR has a bit of a funky release point from that right side. Righty gets the sign, goes over the head with the glove in his windup, hides the ball pretty well. Slider back through his legs up the middle. Bazzana fields on a backhand, throw across his body, not in time. Rivera on a dive beats it out and takes the web gem away from Travis Bazzana.
That is such a tough play from Travis Bazzana. Fields that on the backhand behind the bag at second. And because his momentum's taking him, towards that baseball, it's back towards the left side of the infield. Off balance and can't get too much on the throw, but still enough to make it a photo finish. And it took a headfirst slide to get in there just in time for that infield knock.
Now Devin Obi steps up. Duke Blue Devil takes first pitch. Back pick from Yannick. Rivera back in standing up. Rivera tried to steal on Yannick back in the first and was thrown out. One of 3 men caught stealing by the Commodores backstop today. Rivera with a good lead, though. 50 stolen bases at Southern New Hampshire. VR will check on him. No tag applied for McGregor.
Zach, we were talking about some guys picked up in Martha's Vineyard team right here in the NECBL. Well, Brian VR from the Western Canadian League, the Moose Jaw Miller Express, had a lot of appearances there.
Devin Obi lines us one into center, and it's run down for out number 3. Nate Humphreys able to make the grab and retire the side. We head to the 8th. Falmouth behind 3-1, looking for a response. It's a 3-1 game at Whitehouse Field. Falmouth trying to work some late inning magic again. That's the story here in Harwich, but 4 other games going on around the Cape as we make the push towards the playoffs starting this weekend. Destiny Sanchez has your updates from all around the league.
Thanks, Zach. The Orleans Firebirds defeated the YD Red Sox 11-4. The Bourne Braves defeated the Cotuit Kettleers 4-1. The Hyannis Harbor Hawks are ahead of the Wareham Gatemen 5-1 in the top of the 8th. And the Chatham Anglers are shutting out the Brewster Whitecaps 4-0 in the bottom of the 5th.
Thank you, Destiny. That Orleans final means there will be a chance for the Firebirds to win the East Division regular season title tomorrow if they can beat Chatham. But Chatham's playing some of its best baseball of the season right now. They've won 3 straight. They're up right now with a chance to win 4 straight games heading into that matchup with Orleans. Maybe they can play spoiler tomorrow.
That they could. You also got to keep an eye on YD because now that the Red Sox have lost, a loss by YD tomorrow at any point, regardless of what Orleans does, would still clinch the spot for the Firebirds. That's what happens when you win the head-to-head and you got that 1-point advantage, which in this case the Firebirds do.
Now Scott Ellis is the new arm out of Angelo State. Angelo State, the Division II national champions this year. Caleb Hall is out. There's a pinch hitter. It's Cade Clemens leading off the inning out of Pittsburgh State.
Well, you mentioned Scott Ellis from Angelo State. 1 start over 22 appearances, 6-2 with a 2.95 ERA. Earned 5 saves as well, so he's used to some late inning moments here. Struck out 39 against 27 walks. That's a lot of walks in just over a hair of 42 innings. We'll see what Clemens can do here to spark a rally.
First pitch to Cade Clemens is a fastball upstairs at 91. Starts off ahead in the count. Scott Ellis transferred to Angelo State from Oregon. Clemens with a high fly ball, not too deep into center. Running in is Bosland. He'll make the grab for out number 1. Now here comes Travis Bazzana. Had a hit in the last AB, thought he was going to score a run, but Sean Darnell was gunned out by Bosland out in center at the plate to end the inning back in the 5th.
Zach, that felt like a long time ago. I mean, the Doors have really been shut down outside of Yannick's home run and then McGregor's base hit right after. You had that line-out double play, and it's been a lot of putouts.
First pitch swinging, Bazana. Ground ball to second, fielded on the backhand throw, gets him to retire it. And so, barring a whole lot of offense late in this game for Falmouth, it'll be a 1-for-4 day for Travis Bazana.
Which sounds mediocre to his standards, but it's really not. I mean, you mentioned all those multi-hit efforts he's had in a row. Today he extends a hitting streak, yes. But again, just something that you're just not used to seeing from him. And I think that's kind of the way this game kind of feels. Just 5 hits for Falmouth, the 1 home run from this guy right here in the box.
Walker Yannick trying to keep that momentum going. First pitch swinging, slices a fastball, foul out of play. It's 0-1. 2 quick outs out of the bullpen for Scott Ellis. Working exclusively from the stretch. Gets the sign, brings himself set. Third base side of the rubber. Breaking ball hit back on the ground off of his glove. Fielding on a charge. The throw is wide. It was Brinker coming across, trying to make a sidearm throw. Henderson tried to slap the tag on Yannick, but he beats it out. So the tying run comes to the plate. It's the cleanup man, Tyler McGregor.
Well, Walker Yannick rewarded with an infield hit there. Probably the only way to write that up. That's a tough play because you've got Ellis jumping to make that play. It's off his glove, which kind of changes the route for Brinker taking in, expecting that to go on line with the second base bag. This time, because of the turbulence, takes him more towards the right side of the infield and still barely just missed that play.
Tyler McGregor takes the fastball for a called strike at the knees. 0-1. 1 run on 6 hits for Falmouth, 3 runs on 6 hits for Harwich. Gavin Turley stands on deck. Falmouth trying to keep the inning alive for him. McGregor takes outside with a changeup. A ball and a strike. He had a single in the 6th following that Yannick home run before a line drive double play off the bat of Gavin Turley sat him down. Fastball high and outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. Northeastern Husky stepping back in. Big presence from that left side. Ellis holds the glove just below the belt. Now lifts the leg. Big swing and a miss. Breaking ball outside. McGregor comes up empty. We're even 2-2. 3-1 Harwich in front of Falmouth from Whitehouse Field on this Tuesday night, August 1st. 2-2 bounces in, kept in front by Arndt behind the plate. Now Yannick will be on the move with a payoff pitch awaiting Tyler McGregor.
Well, you got a full count here. You're going to have your base runner and Yannick on the move, and you get Gavin Turley up next. You'd love to see Turley get in with runners aboard.
The 3-2. Pop foul out of play. Yannick getting some cardio. He'll head back to first.
Tries to elevate a fastball by McGregor. Pulled the string on him a couple of times tonight for wave and misses. Have this pitching staff, so tries to work a different approach there with that heater.
Another 3-2. Chopper on the ground, foul down the first base side. The battle continues between Ellis and McGregor.
Slowed it down. That time a slider in the inside third of the zone. A little bit up. Yannick out in front of it, staying alive. It's not one pitch, one spot, but if you can get one kind of where you're looking, you could do damage here. But nonetheless, just try to keep the line moving.
Another 3-2. Misses low, ball 4. McGregor wins the battle. And there's 2 aboard for Gavin Turley with 2 away.
This is why you have 2 Beavers from Oregon State in the lineup, because if one isn't coming through a whole lot, the other can pick each other up. And, you know, you have the 1-for-4 from Bazana. Gavin Turley's 0 for right now. He has a massive spot to come through. He's swinging probably the hottest bat of any of these Commodores as of the last few days.
Turley takes the slider outside to start off the at-bat ahead. There's a new hitter on deck for Falmouth. It's Barry Walsh. He's replacing Nate Humphreys. 1-0. Went back to the same pitch, and Turley took a big hack at it, but comes up empty. A ball and a strike to the Oregon State Beaver. Big freshman year for Turley, highly touted prospect out of Chandler, Arizona. Another slider, swing and a miss. It's 1-2.
It's a good pitch if you locate it, but we've seen Gavin Turley do damage against that pitch when it's left over the middle of the plate and even the inside third.
Look to second. The 1-2 is another slider, and it's laid off low and outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 2 aboard in the top of the 8th. The 3-1 game. Harwich in front. Falmouth looking to respond. 2-2, another slider. And again, Turley lays off it. Another full count. Runners will be in motion. Barry Walsh on deck. Ellis comes set. The 3-2 is another breaking ball, and Turley lays off it in the dirt. Back-to-back full count walks, and the tying run in scoring position for Falmouth, and Barry Walsh is going to get a shot.
Just real good discipline. You saw the wave and a miss earlier in the at-bat from Turley, and taking that to the notebook with Scott Ellis, and he tried to use it for a cut and a miss, just didn't get it. That's good maturity in the box to build on the previous pitches, learning what they're trying to use against you, and then not falling victim to it. Now you give Barry Walsh a chance with bases loaded.
First pitch fastball from Ellis, and Walsh just a little behind it, fouls it back out of play. Walker Yannick stands at third. Tyler McGregor at second. Gavin Turley at first. 0-1 to Barry Walsh. Had the pinch hit, walk-off 2 RBI single last time, and shoots this one into right. 1 run's going to score. McGregor coming around. The throw is cut off, and Barry Walsh plays hero again. We're tied at 3 in the top of the 8th.
Barry Walsh takes a slider up and away. The previous ones had been in good spots, but this one is just left in a spot where he can shoot it the other way. And that's what allowed McGregor to score, because it's away from his side of the field coming in from third. And it's in towards that gap. You have to round it on your backhand. That's what Leary did there. Executed perfectly, and it's tied up.
And Michael Eze has a shot to give Falmouth the lead. Fastball low, picked on a hop by Arndt behind the plate. It's 1-0. Gavin Turley moved up to third on the throw. So they're on the corners with 2 away. 3 apiece, Doors and Mariners from Whitehouse Field. The 1-0 is down in the dirt on a slider. Check swing. Did not go. It's 2-0.
Zach, the other thing about this rally, all with 2 outs. Exactly what we saw last night. This team does not give up. The resiliency is real.
Trying to keep that moving. The 2-out rally in the 8th. The 2-0 to Eze. Soft line drive sinking into center field, but run down by Bosland for out number 3. But not before the Doors come through and even things in the top of the 8th. It's 3-3 headed to the bottom half on the Commodores Radio Network. Brian VR now comes in. He's the pitcher of record as the Doors have evened things in the top of the 8th. Now 3-4-5 in the bottom of the 8th against VR. That means Ethan Anderson to lead it off. VR over the head in the windup. Fastball upstairs makes it 1-0. VR working from the wine. Down inside. That almost got Anderson, but he hops out of the way of it. It's 2-0.
Hop is putting it mildly. You kind of had to almost Irish tap out of the way of that one over the heart of home plate there. That came in running inside. His first look at that slider. Ethan Anderson gets to see it from Brian VR.
VR trying to battle back in the count. The 2-0, high and outside. It's 3-0. VR 61 strikeouts to 22 walks at Keystone this year, mainly as a starter. 3-0, high, and a 4-pitch walk to start the inning. Not exactly what you were looking for after scoring 2 to tie it up, but still a lot of time left in this inning to try and fix that.
And Zach, if nothing else, I mean, you're just trying to see what you have in Brian VR here. I mean, it's your spot in the playoffs is locked up. I don't think that's what you're looking at to make this decision, obviously. But again, just looking at momentum and trying to keep things rolling into the postseason, this is an arm that you're seeing for the first time. You don't know where he's going to fit in the bullpen, let alone maybe even used for more than that in a roll down the postseason stretch.
Squaring to bunt. Runner takes off. Yannick picks it up. The throw down, not in time. Wild pitch moves up that runner. Just like that, Harwich has the go-ahead run in scoring position. After 5 pitches, none of them strikes from VR. This is not what we saw from him when he came out of the bullpen in the last inning. He was firing strikes. It was a ground ball infield single by Daniel Rivera and then a soft flyout to center field. Now Ethan Anderson reaching on a walk and Cam Leary ahead 1-0. Leary open stance left side. VR comes set. Glove at the chin. Look back to second. Fastball called strike. Outer third at the knees. Evens it up. A ball and a strike to Leary. Out of Boston College. No one holding on Anderson at second. Walking lead. Breaking ball couldn't catch the edge. It's 2-1. Leary today 0 for 1 with a pair of walks and a run scored. He's worked good ABs and he's ahead again. Eze now holding on Anderson as he widens his lead. 2-1 fastball at the knees for a called strike. Crowd here at Whitehouse Field didn't like that one, but VR will take it.
Yeah, gets him back into the zone with the fastball. That's been his pick so far to get back into the count.
Look back to second, now another. Big leg kick, 2-2 breaking ball. High chopper, right side. McGregor fields it with a foot on the bag to retire him, but the ground ball moves up the base runner. The go-ahead run just 90 feet away for Harwich with 1 out.
Well, you never want to fall behind after allowing the leadoff man to reach to the next man up. But a good job by VR to, again, battle back and nearly found a put away there, Zach. Except it was a productive out. Wasn't hit a whole lot. Not hard at all. But, again, job well done by Harwich. And now the infield's in on the grass.
Brian Arndt steps in with the infield in. First pitch swinging. Hit that one hard. Heads up on the hill. 96 off the bat, just over the fencing. Down the third base line. But it is just a strike. It's 0-1. Falmouth was able to escape some jams late in the game yesterday thanks to some late inning bullpen heroics from Nolan Moore. VR could use channeling that here. 0-1. Just off the plate with the fastball. A ball and a strike to the catcher out of UNC Wilmington. The Seahawk is 1 for 3. He's got an RBI single, but also has a pair of strikeouts. The 1-1. Breaking ball out in front of it. It's 1-2. Really good slider. Gets a swing and a miss.
Yeah, good time to do that. Way out in front of it. Now you know maybe what he was expecting. Obviously something different. You can use that in your back pocket here if you're Yannick calling that pitch here on this big 1-2.
The delivery from VR. Ground ball right back to him. Pops out of the glove. He has time, makes the throw to first, and that runner holds at third. A big out number 2, and the infield can deepen up a little bit as Justin Boslin steps up.
That's such a good job to knock it down because even though he didn't get it cleanly, Zach, when the base runner Anderson sees that at first, he's running back to third. You know, he doesn't want to get caught as that go-ahead run in a bad situation. But for VR to realize, okay, I have time because not only do I knock it down, but I see the base runner obviously is not going home. Step and throw, deliver it over to first with McGregor. And that's a massive second out. The defense can recover back to normal depth.
Justin Boslin, 0 for 3. Line out, ground out, and then reached on an error. Takes the first pitch, fastball for a called strike at 89. Northeastern Husky, tall presence, left-handed batter's box. Hands high, bangled the bat over that left shoulder. 0-1, bounces and gets away from Yannick. The run's going to come across, and Harwich takes the lead on a wild pitch. 390s haunting the doors once again. A leadoff walk, gets around on a couple of wild pitches. And in the same inning that Falmouth tied the game, the Mariners take the lead right back.
Well, that's tough. That's been the story of today. Some that have gotten by Yannick. That's a tough one, though. That's down in the zone, slider back in towards him. And especially with this backstop, you knew it right away.
1-1, fastball leaks high and outside. Boslin's ahead in the count. 2 balls, 1 strike. VR working back from the windup now with the bases clear. High fly ball, shallow center field on the 2-1. It's called off by Michael Eze, the shortstop, who makes the catch for out number 3, but not before Harwich gets that lead back. We head to the 9th. 3 outs to work with for the Doors, trailing 4-3 on the Commodores Radio Network. Top of the 9th inning from Harwich. It's 4-3 Mariners. Falmouth with a last shot looking for some 9th inning magic again. Sean Darnell will lead it off against the new pitcher. Coming in for the save, it's Cole Rowland.
Yeah, Cole Rowland had himself a tremendous year this year at Wake Forest. Good numbers for a team that was #1 in the country all the way through to the end. 25 appearances, went 2-1, a 2.15 ERA, earned 2 saves for the Demon Deacons in 29 innings of work, 50 Ks to 13 walks, Zach.
He's looking for his second save of the summer in appearance number 9, 1-0 with a 2.34 ERA. First pitch fastball way upstairs. And Darnell starts ahead in the count. A walk, a single, and a strikeout in the 3 plate appearances for Darnell. Takes high and outside. It's 2-0. Just 1 walk issued on the summer by Rowland.
He's falling behind here. Just can't locate that pitch. The fastball here to start.
2-0 does locate it. And Darnell slices it foul. 2 balls, 1 strike. Darnell, Shapiro are the first 2 to up, and then Cade Clemens. If anybody reaches, Bazzano will get a shot. The 2-1. Line drive out to left. Right there is Kerr. Had that scouting report perfectly. Didn't even have to move to make that catch.
Yeah, I see him now looking at his little cheat sheet he's got in his back pocket and adjusting now for Caden Shapiro. But nonetheless, you hit it right on the nail, brother. I mean, right at him. Line drive, just 1 step back. Puts in his back pocket. Good piece of contact, but just right at him for the first out.
Here's Caden Shapiro. Princeton Tiger taking on Rowland. Fastball up above the letters. It's 1-0. These guys for 1 season were Ivy League foes, with Rowland spending some time at Dartmouth before heading to the ACC in Wake Forest. Righty delivers 1-0. Change up down in the dirt. Laid off by Shapiro. Another Commodore ahead 2-0.
Well, now you see Rowland kind of kicking the dirt around on the mound. I'm not sure if he likes the landing spot that he's had here. But 2-0 and back-to-back hitters.
Works himself set. Whole lot of rocks with the foot as he comes set. 2-0. Catches the zone with a breaking ball. Inside corner to Shapiro. Makes it 2-1. Getting the sign from Martin. Bringing himself set. Shapiro taps that foot as he waits the delivery in the box. Ground ball chopped to the right side. Rinker comes in. Underhand flip as he falls down. But he does get it to Anderson. And Falmouth, for the 2nd straight night, is down to their final out in the 9th. With nobody on base.
The designated hitter from Pittsburgh State.
Yeah, just rolls one over there. It's a tough play for Brinker to make, just tumbling down to flip it. But I see what you did there, partner. I mean, the Doors yesterday, down 2, 2 outs, nobody on in the 9th. Had to work some magic.
And they had the top of the order coming up right where we are right now. Tying run still at the plate in a 1-run game in Cade Clemens. Travis Bazzana looms on deck if Clemens is able to reach. First pitch, good slider back into the zone for a called strike. First pitch strike we've seen from Rowland. Hasn't hurt him just yet. The 0-1 goes right back to it, gets a called strike again. And Falmouth quickly down to its final strike. 4-3 Harwich, 0-2 count. Top of the 9th inning. The Doors tied it in the top of the 8th, but gave up a run on a wild pitch after a leadoff walk came around to score in the bottom half. Fans getting into it at Whitehouse Field. The 0-2. Strike 3 called. 3 pitches, 3 breaking balls, all taken. And the Doors go down looking at Whitehouse Field.
Well, Zach, you saw that same pitch earlier to start off the at-bat, just showing a breaking ball there to start it off to Cade Clemens. That's the same one there. Get caught looking. It was a tough one for Falmouth today. I mean, the Doors came back, got helped out with those walks that we saw in the 8th inning to bring those 2 around for Barry Walsh for that big hit, Zach. But outside of that, the Doors struck out a lot tonight. You look at the numbers, it was 11 today, and a good chunk of them were down looking as well. But that's sometimes how baseball goes. Just wasn't your effort tonight. You liked the long ball from Walker Yannick, and you had a chance. But that's why it's summer ball. You look to tomorrow, nothing on the line other than bragging rights, but you'd like to find a way to get a win before going into the series with Hyannis this weekend.
Hyannis did pick up a win before this one ended, so wouldn't have mattered either way, as the Doors would have been the road team in that series. And that's where we'll be Friday night at McKeon Park. But first, we're going to be at the Gov tomorrow. Make sure to catch us for the final home game of the regular season as the Doors host the Kitsui Cavaliers from Gov Fuller Field for everybody at Whitehouse Field. Our broadcast partners, Matt Venezia and Destiny Sanchez. I'm Zach Surdenik, hoping you have a blessed rest of your Tuesday night and saying good night from Harwich.